Welcome, fans and followers of the OBR and the OBR streaming network. My name is Joe Mazzulo. This is my man Pete Smith, and this is Pete and Joe break down the massacre in Chicago. Pete, how you doing, big guy? How was your weekend besides that 3-hour stretch on Sunday?
I'm the same as I was last week, which I'm not sure how many people are in that same boat, but it didn't change much for me. I don't know if it did a whole lot for you.
So I would say it did not. I don't like that with a team with a 3-10 record. Like, I don't take anything away from it. I just don't. I don't think there's anything to take away from it. We're horribly overmatched. Yeah. This is a team on the other end of the, wins and losses spectrum, right? They're in the thick of the playoff race. They're the number one team in the North. Chicago's fantastic right now. Chicago's playing really well, right? I think we were in a blender. We had a bunch of players that were disinterested because of the record and the weather and just the whole situation in general. I just think it was a nightmare performance from a nightmare season. I don't take anything from it. The only thing I do take away from it, look, as bad of a quarterback, I should say as bad of an NFL level quarterback as Shedeur Sanders is, which I think when it comes to the nuances of the position and when it comes to a lot of the ins and outs of it, I believe he's bad and he needs to get better and he needs to progress. He's just behind the 8 ball and that's fine. But the natural ability that we see him throwing the ball is intriguing. And his ability to do it in these elements is intriguing, man. That was a nightmare on Sunday. And we knew Caleb Williams would be okay. He's got a howitzer. But Shedeur, I was concerned. He looked okay throwing the football. It caught it a couple times, but he looked okay.
It's interesting way you put it. I didn't see a disinterested football team. I saw a team that looked worn out. The injuries they looked beat up. And the guy I sort of looked to as sort of my barometer to make that judgment was Carson Schlesinger. He got run over. Yeah. Like, he made the tackle, but it's the first time I've seen him actually get knocked back by a running back. This is a guy who took down Derrick Henry and just put him on the ground, put Ashton Jeanty on the ground. And it just feels like they were just beat up, cold, and miserable. And, we can get into the whole, some of the different aspects, but I don't see lack of effort. I don't see lack of interest because a lot of these guys are desperately trying to prove that they belong in the NFL, let alone, the Browns. So is there stuff I still watch, stuff I take away? Absolutely. I mean, we had guys that are in there that we haven't had in there. Luke Whippler, continuing to watch Shedeur Sanders, guys like Sam Webb, poor Sam Webb, so, that part of it, I don't really care about, but to your point, I don't get caught up in the, going from 3-11 to presumably and potentially 3-14 and being like, well, that's the last straw for me because I don't care in that element. And part of the reason I think that is watching what I just watched last night with the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins looked awful. The Miami Dolphins, as we sit here today, are projected to pick 11th in the draft. I don't know how good that feels if you're the Miami Dolphins. They've got some interesting pieces. Mike McDaniel's probably going to keep his job, which is good for him. Yeah. And personally, I don't think he's a bad coach. There's some things that I think he does really poorly, but he's a really smart coach in terms of the X's and O's and stuff like that. But I was watching that game and I'm like, I don't see a great way out for Miami other than they have some pieces. And I don't know where they're going to go from here. And ultimately I came to the conclusion of I'd rather be the Browns right now, as bad as it is to be 3-11 and heading in the direction they're heading, because I don't remember who posted it, but the odds sort of point the Browns at ending up with the number 2 pick. And I'd like them to have the number 2 pick. I'd like nothing more than them to be able to either get a quarterback they really, really like or trade down and basically between what they did last year and this year, get the picks back that they sort of lost over the Sean Watson thing, which brought me to a question, and I'm curious to get your reaction. Of of teams and their situation, where they are, and who you'd rather be in that situation comparatively. Would you rather? So, for example, based on you and the Miami Dolphins are appropriate because you know them pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Rather be the Cleveland Browns at the end of this season or the Miami Dolphins, knowing everything you know, context, Deshaun Watson contract, all the stuff, and however you feel about coaches, GMs, and all that stuff.
As of right now. So the only thing that makes this question difficult is the looming question of the offseason direction, right? What are we going to do with the coaching staff? What are we going to do with the general manager? If you tell me right now that the Miami Dolphins are bringing back Mike McDaniel and the bulk of that roster, and they're going to hire a new GM, or I can stay in Cleveland with Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and this roster, truth be told, Pete, I stay here.
I agree.
If I go into the offseason and I don't know who the coach or the GM is going to be, I'll gravitate back towards Miami.
It gets very weird very fast because
it does. And that's my biggest issue with this whole Kevin Stefanski thing is I feel like the last 2 years have just magnified everybody's frustration with this team in this moment. And the head coach is always going to be low-hanging fruit, right? You're always going to be able to pick on that guy and say, well, it starts at the top. It's every penalty. It starts at the top. That's coaching. I don't think it's that simple. Not everything's black and white. There's so many layers to this thing. I love what our defense is capable of, right? I love the defensive personnel that we have, and I love what Schwartz does with the defense. And offensively, it leaves so much to be desired, but I have such a hard time. I mean, you can't convince me that there's an offensive staff in the league that would take this collection of players with the biggest weaknesses they have is quarterback and offensive tackle. Who the hell is going to thrive in that scenario? And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Stefanski's great or that this, offense could be something or this, that, and the other. Just give him time. I don't know. I just know that this isn't a good offense. And every Monday we're like, well, what the hell's wrong with the offense? We know. We saw it. We see it every weekend.
Yeah. It's the thing is, I don't care who the coach is. Like in terms of if the coaching changes, you may have questions on defense. You know damn well what the offense has to do. They need a whole new line. They need more weapons in terms of receivers specifically, and they need a quarterback. Like you can get Paul Brown out of the ground. Those things are still going to have to get fixed. So like that's a big part of it. But let's continue. New York Giants right now 2-12. Abdul Carter coming off a great game, 2 forced fumbles, recovered one of them. He was fantastic. They have Dexter Lawrence. They have the other dude from Carolina who's getting a ton of sacks. Jackson Dart looks very impressive in many ways, though they are, I think, a more interesting conversation than anyone really wants to let on, because Jackson Dart, who I actually really think is a talented quarterback, I obviously pounded the table for him as QB2, even though I wouldn't have taken him to 5 under any circumstance. He was checked for his 5th. He was evaluated for a concussion for the 5th time in 10 football games.
Yep.
I know if it's me and he was on the Browns, I'd be freaking out. Yeah. I would be absolutely freaking out because you can say, well, he cleared the protocol. Great. He's still apparently getting hit in the head hard enough that you're checking 5 times in 10 games. That'd freak me out. Andrew Thomas, fantastic left tackle. They've got some other interesting pieces, parts, but they just have not won. Obviously, you are potentially going to be replacing your GM, unclear, which that's where I think this gets very interesting. And then you're obviously going to get a new head coach because there's a world where you could replace Joe Shane, and maybe you're sitting there going, I love Jackson Dart. You might also be sitting there, if I'm picking one, maybe I'd pick a quarterback and say, screw it and see what happens. But either way, Browns or Giants based on the current circumstances.
Current circumstances, I'm probably going to lead Giants just because they have a bigger chip in Jackson Dart. I like some of the elements done. They got a nice tight end in Theo Johnson. The Giants have some potential. They really do. If they can get Jackson Dart, to keep his head out of a tackling drill, and B, just play a little more efficient, that's a team that could do some damage. So that's a team that I would take over the Browns just because I think they're bad, but I think they're like damn close. They're one really good draft away and Jackson Dart ascension from taking a really nice step forward.
And I forgot to mention Malik Neighbors coming back from ACL, who looked fantastic before he got hurt. I think the big caveat is the injury situation. They've got a lot of guys, a lot of very important players who are coming off injuries.
Yes.
For that reason, I think the fact that I totally get where you're coming from. Jackson Dart does make them interesting enough where you're like, maybe. I'd still lean to the Browns. I think they have more concrete, and it's because they have a defense. The Giants have players, but they don't necessarily come together to do much. It's just a weird sort of setup. Like, to your point, if they get the right people in charge there, and then they suddenly go, they can figure this thing out and make it a real team. Yeah, they can be a real good fit. I mean, just the defensive front is very impressive and allows you to do a lot of things. But that's fine. Las Vegas Raiders. They have.
Don't even say anything about the team. It's not even a question.
The Raiders have nothing.
I'm telling you, I choose Cleveland. I get it. I get that.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, they have Geno Smith, Geno Smith, and he may not be there if they finish bad enough to pick a quarterback. And I don't know what they're doing.
And Pete Carroll might get fired.
God only knows.
If Pete Carroll gets fired, Geno might be gone. You never know.
I think their GM will stay. Colton Miller's a good player. Mm-hmm. Max Crosby's obviously fantastic. But there's just so little. There's so little on that football team. But yeah, I agree. Obviously, I'm taking the Browns on that one. Tennessee Titans. I think Cam Ward is really, really talented. Mm-hmm. Really talented. Their offensive line is getting a little bit better. That's all I got.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Outside of Jeffrey Simmons on that defense, I mean, I don't have much for the Tennessee Titans outside of Cam Ward. And obviously Jeffrey Simmons. I don't look, I don't want, like, I'm not that doom and gloom on the Browns. I'm really not. I think it's very apparent that this season is what it is, because there's problems that we need to fix that cannot be fixed on a street free agent or the waiver wire or even a midseason trade. It's not going to happen. We need a strong draft, but more importantly, we need continuity, and we need all of our younger guys to get better. One more year, more comfortable in the system. One full off season for these rookies to A, like, reset themselves mentally and physically, and B, get better. Don't jump into the deep end and try to learn how to swim again. Get better. Know what you're doing and get better at it. You know, I feel like the team's close, and a strong draft is going to put them in the right direction. And our quarterback situation is what it is, man. Four's on the roster next year. Four is legitimately going to be in uniform on the roster, on the field in some capacity. It's going to happen. So that limits what we can do. It limits what we can do outside of a rookie. It just does. There's only so much money that we're going to have. We're going to get money back from, the insurance stuff with Watson and everything like that. But I mean, still, he's going to be on the roster. We're not going to be able to move him. So if you add a veteran or another rookie, either Shador or Dillon's going to be gone, which I think we can all agree there's a certain side of that nobody's really going to be that, heard about. But that's just the reality of the situation, So it's like if Shador can ascend, this team can make noise. It can. I refuse to believe that it can't, because the defense is so good that if you just meet them halfway, if you're just a top 20 to 15 offense, this is a playoff contending team.
Yep. New York Jets. You've got Garrett Wilson. You've got two very talented tackles.
Just say draft capital.
And you've got a million.
Big sell there.
You've got picks.
But I like the backfield. I like Breece Hall. I like Braylon Allen. I think they're talented kids.
Although you're another guy, Braylon Allen, coming off, unfortunately, an injury for him.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm not going to argue with what they did. I'm surprised nobody gave up more to go get Breece Hall in a trade, but nevertheless, they're the ultimate. They've torn it down. They're going to see if they can build it back up, and who knows? They may trade more of these guys either in the off season or next season. But I'm assuming you're going to take the Browns over that.
Yeah, I'll take.
Okay.
Look. Yeah, keep going.
Arizona has very similar to the New York Giants. They have a smattering of very good players. Mm-hmm. Paris Johnson is fantastic at left tackle. They've got a makings of a pretty good offensive line.
Don't they have that the German guard we used to have playing center,
center,
right?
Yes.
And he's been good for them. He's been a nice pickup.
Hjalti Froholt, the Viking. Yeah, he's been good. So they have the makings of an offensive line.
Yeah.
They obviously have one very good receiver. They're hoping Marvin Harrison can become the Marvin Harrison they drafted him to be, but he's hurt. They're trying to put some pieces together on defense that hasn't really come together yet, but that's why I sort of sit there and say they're very similar to the New York Giants. Questions with their coaching situation. A lot of people think Gannon is cooked.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I sort of put them in the New York Giants basket of teams. They are currently picking 6th.
So I actually kind of like Arizona. I like Gannon. I think I don't know what it is about Gannon that I like, but I like him. I think his teams play tough. They play with energy. I love Trey McBride. He's kid's incredible.
He's the guy I forgot to mention. He's phenomenal.
Yeah. He's ridiculous. And obviously Marvin Harrison's talented. Michael Wilson is the real star of that show right now. He's a really talented player too. I like a lot of what Arizona has going on. I mean, I trade Kyler Murray 17 years ago if I could. I've got nothing for Kyler as an NFL quarterback. The talent's incredible, but his inability to play on schedule and in structure is just the most frustrating thing in the world. And the fact that they paired an absolute precision instrument in Marvin Harrison with captain shoot from the hip blows my mind. I just think that's one of the worst pairings I've seen a franchise tactically make in a really long time. I mean, you give Kyler Malik Neighbors, a guy that can operate, out of chaos and stuff like that. I think it's a better fit, but and everybody's crushing Marvin for it, but he's miscast. But Brissett's been good. Brissett's been very good for them in pieces.
The challenge I have with Arizona and why I'd pick the Browns is honestly draft position. Yeah. The Cardinals don't have a clear path to a quarterback right now. They've got a lot of pieces in place that could be good. They get a coach and a GM I don't know what they're going to do with GM. They get that if Austin Ford, I assume, will stick around. But anyway, if they get all those things together, I think they're a lot like the Giants. The problem is the Giants have a difference maker theoretically at quarterback. With the Cardinals don't. And for that reason, I'll take the Browns just simply on draft capital. But I think that one's very close. I think the Cardinals could be pretty good reasonably quickly. New Orleans Saints.
Let me ask you this. When you're factoring the Browns against these other teams, because where I sit. I factored I look at Shedeur as a positive for us. I think he's our quarterback for next year at least. There's very little question in my mind. And the reason that I say that is because of our current situation. The fact that we have 4 on the roster next year, no matter what. I would like them to bring back this regime. I want to see Shedeur get the shot. So I'm looking at as a positive. How do you look at quarterback for the Browns? Are you looking at it not at Shedeur? You're looking at it as we have the higher draft pick and we have another first rounder. We have the capital to get the guy. Or how do you use Shedeur in that scenario?
I'm pretty firmly anti-trade up right now. But if they're sitting there and they have a quarterback there that they love, I'm taking it. And I'm going to coach both guys up. And let's say for example, because I'll use this as the example. If they draft Dante Moore cannot step in and start. I'm just going to tell you right now, he cannot do it. Everybody can tell you how great Dante Moore is. I think he's phenomenally talented. Cannot step in right away, and I think that would be a huge disservice to him. And for that reason, I look at having Shedeur Sanders as a positive. I also, even if they were to get Fernando Mendoza, I look at having Shedeur Sanders as a positive. I'm going to coach both guys up, and if I have to live in a world where we have 2 good quarterbacks, I will endure it. I will
brave it.
I'll tough it out. So this is the problem I have is no one questions when colleges do this, ever. Mm-hmm. No one questioned when the 49ers had Joe Montana and Steve Young. But, the idea of you have to plant your flag with Shedeur Sanders, I'm intrigued. There are things we can talk about that I like about what I see. As I texted you, and I've talked on here, I thought this game was way more encouraging than the 49ers game. That game was discouraging. Yeah. I was discouraged watching him against the 49ers. Encouraged watching him against the Chicago Bears. So, but if I'm there and I've got I've heard for years and years, the Browns are bad, but they're never bad enough to get the quarterback. You cannot, unless you think this is Mitch Trubisky,
Yeah.
You cannot sell me on the idea of, well, we think he's really good, but we've got you. You just can't do it. If they're out of position, I'm going to operate as if they're out of position. And I'm going to get another veteran in here and make this thing interesting. Because at that point, I can't go in with no parachute. I got to have something. Yeah. But at that point, I'm fine with rolling with what they have and building up the rest of the roster. It just entirely depends on where they end up. If they end up with the number 2 pick and 2 quarterbacks come out,
yeah,
and I'm not, look, I'm too early on this part of it. Like, the idea of drafting Dante Moore terrifies me. I know what the track record is on redshirt sophomores. It's not good. So I will be scared on that. They will have to have a plan if they do that. And that plan for me would be not playing. Yeah, which would already piss a whole lot of people off because you took the number 2 overall, and you said,
you know how pissed we all got because our 5th rounder didn't play early enough, Pete.
Yes, insane. So with that, but that in mind, the New Orleans Saints, Tyler Shuck, baby, making it happen. They've still got Chris Olave. They've got, I don't really know who's on that team at this point. They are so, like, talent wise, they're not very good. Yeah. But they've got it rolling, and they could theoretically win out because the teams they're playing are just absolutely collapsing.
I want to say, who do they have? They've got the Jets. They've got next week, I think, the Titans. And then I don't know who they finished with. I think they finished with one of their, NFC South compadres. But I'm pretty sure they got the Jets and the Titans these next 2 weeks.
No, I think
we're looking at a 6-win Saints team, Pete. That's pretty crazy.
Does that really help them? Now, granted, if you really like Tyler Shuck, great. But
have you watched him?
No.
Have you watched him closely?
No.
Because his numbers look good. But the eyeball test, he's a nice athlete. He makes some nice plays with his feet. I don't know. I had 2 guys on my list that I did not want the Browns to draft.
Oh,
one was Tyler Shuck, and the other one was Dylan Gabriel. Those were my 2. So when the Saints took him in the second, I was very happy. But
live coverage, we were all relieved that Tyler Shuck was off the board because we didn't want to get into a situation where LeBron, another elderly quarterback to bring into the mix.
You remember about a week and a half before the draft, Mary Kay said take Shedeur 2 and then Tyler Shuck trade up at the end of the first?
Yes.
Because you're definitely going to get it out of one of the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Love that. That was a good one.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that nobody remembers when she says these things except us. So the Saints, they sit at 7th pick. They may even finish worse than that. They're still trying to get out. I think they're basically out of their cap situation. I think it's about over, but there's not much left there.
Yeah,
their whole season is proving that Carolina is a fraud. They beat them twice.
The whole NFC South is a fraud.
That's true.
In my opinion, the only decent team is Tampa.
North,
but Tampa's beat the smithereens at this point.
It's awful. I'm assuming you're going to take the Browns over the Saints.
Yeah, I take the Browns over the Saints just because of my deep-rooted hatred for Tyler Shuck. Although he's been on paper, he's been worlds better than I thought he was going to be.
True. He's done better than I thought he would so far. Yeah. Washington, which is really interesting. Jaden Daniels, good enough to lead that team to an NFC championship in his first year. However, he's obviously dealt with multiple injuries. They just shut him down for the year. And they had an older roster when they went to the NFC championship and then said, we didn't know. I don't know that we expected to get here, but we sort of got to lean into it and got older.
Yep.
So they have a lot of pieces in place, but it's an aging roster. How good do you feel about that picking 8th?
So I like Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is better than I thought he was going to be. I thought he had a great year at LSU, but I didn't trust it to translate, and it really did. He took off like an absolute madman last year. But his style of play scares me. He runs upright. He takes hits. He's a slender guy. And I thought I was so smart. There's no way Lamar, with his slender frame, lasts as long as he's going to last. But Lamar's proved me wrong. Lamar's tough. He really is. Lamar's great. I don't know how tough Jaden Daniels is. And he's had the bad luck of getting nicked up a lot.
But he doesn't. Lamar Jackson has largely been good at avoiding car accidents. Jaden Daniels, whether it was LSU or Washington, he gets into them consistently.
Yeah.
He takes vicious hits. And that was one of the reasons I know a lot of people were not high on him coming out of the draft is they saw the numbers and everything else, but they're like, he's going to die.
He had some highlights at LSU where he just got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. Now you got to protect yourself, especially these dudes all hit. The NFL will absolutely break you.
And he plays in the NFC East. He's got to see the Eagles and the Giants twice. Like, come on. Yep. So are you like Washington or the Browns in that situation?
I don't know, man. That's tough, because it's like if you look at things on paper, having Jaden Daniels there, they've got some nice weapons. But, and also like I don't know. I would probably lean towards the Commanders. I would.
I think it's tough. I honestly think
it's difficult. Well, and our defense makes it so tough too. Our defense is incredible. And it's like, as much as I want to argue on behalf of Washington because of Jaden Daniels, they don't have Myles Garrett. They just don't. Myles Garrett's the best player in the world. Yep. That's a big deal. That's a big deal on this roster. So if we can just get our offensive head coach some tackles and a quarterback that's going to play the way he wants, because I think that's what's like ultimately got me on the side of the staff at this point is watching the game over again. Pete, guys are open. Guys are open often. And like, I love what Shedeur represents. I love the quarterback that he can eventually be because I'm obsessed with his accuracy. He's such a good natural thrower of the ball. He throws guys open. He throws to spots, but he's so bad at everything else that we just need all of that to catch up. And if Stefanski gets a quarterback and the running game can get some sort of semblance, let alone the offensive line, the defense is so good. The defense is so good. And I think it's going to be better next year.
That was my main takeaway from watching the Bears game is I was just jealous of the Bears. I was just like, I remember when the Browns could do this. Yep. And I was just like, I desperately want the Browns to be able to get back to a point where they can just run the ball and use play action and apparently recreate the catch with Caleb Williams throwing to the back of the end zone. Have you seen that? Like Polymarket or whatever. It's eerie how much they're like.
I still haven't watched a replay of it that I wasn't like, that's AI. It didn't even make sense. The ball passed through two guys. It's crazy.
But like I saw somebody sent it to me, the Polymarket or whatever, put them side by side, the rolling out and throwing to Dwight Clark. It's eerie how they're almost the same. But like I'm just
wasn't one in a dome and the other one was in like negative 30 degrees with wind.
Well, no, I think both were outside. I thought
was
both
it outside?
Yeah,
it probably was.
Yeah. So I just sat there watching the Bears going, man, I just want linemen and I just want to be able to run the ball because I sit here and go, Quinshon Judkins is going to be really good if they get him blocking. And two, I was just like, it just looks so fun and easy for the Bears right now to just be like, hey, we're going to just do this and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. And your defense could be like, we're trying to defend three different things at the same time and we're just boned. But the Cincinnati Bengals, you have the quarterback, you have phenomenal receivers. You have pieces on defense that are reasonably young.
I'm taking the Bengals all day long.
I agree.
I think the easiest problem to have in football is how can we get a defense that can keep the opposing offense from scoring 40 points? That's what we got to do.
Mike Brown and Katie Blackburn are not scaring me away from that situation. And that's unfortunate realities because that's in your division. And the Browns have, historically done well against Joe Burrow and company, but like, you are taking that and you're like, I'll roll with it. I will figure it out. And that's, that's what I said when they were talking about potentially letting T Higgins walk is like, sign them both and figure it out. You can figure out the rest. All right. Yeah. That one's easy. I agree. Atlanta Falcons. This is where it gets weird.
No, I go Browns. With the Falcons, I go Browns.
They're in hell. They are in hell. But now I'll make the case for the Falcons. They have a really good line. They have a very good running back.
I like the skill guys.
Drake London, who's a very good player, though hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're going to do with Kyle Pitts, who's having a career year in a contract year. Yeah, which makes you a little worried, but he's been great.
I feel like they're going to have to tag him because I feel like he's going to price himself out of what they want to pay him. And somebody on the open market will pay him. They got to tag him.
Well, I mean, and
it depends on who else is a free agent for
Kyle Pitts. Franchise tag is still like the best deal in the business for tight ends because it's still dirt cheap. Yeah. It's like $13 million. They have a better defense. It's inconsistent, but they've got more fun pieces. Now, obviously, the downside for them is Michael Penix, third knee injury, is going to obviously be rehabbing. You're still paying Kirk Cousins. And
aren't they able to get out of Cousins this offseason pretty
easily? But it will cost them. They can do it.
June 1st thing, they'll be okay.
It's not going to be like it was last year, where like it was literally going to kill them to do it, where they're going to get like $90 million. It would be, it would hurt, but they can do it. So I'm in the same camp as you. I would take the Browns over the Falcons situation. That trade just absolutely put them in hell. Already did the Dolphins. I assume we're going to both pick the Chiefs, which curiously right now are slated to pick 12th.
Mm-hmm. Definitely picking the Chiefs. It's a shame Mahomes hurt his knee. Always. Agreed. I mean, I hate seeing great players go down, and I know a lot of people have Chief fatigue, and I know a lot of people are like annoyed at the idea of Chiefs fatigue or, that being a thing. But I think the playoffs are better when Mahomes is in the picture. Anytime you get your best players in the mix, it's always a good thing. So it's gonna suck that they're out of it, but I'm excited for the rest of the AFC. Even our opponents this weekend. I mean, I'm gonna hate the Bills for the next 6 days, man. But it's tough to root against that team. I like that team. I like Josh Allen. I think
I will find the strength. I will find the strength to hate the Bills. I will find the strength to hate the Bills the entire way. Now, here's what's really interesting about the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes-less Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones was half-assing it this season. When it mattered. I don't know how much of his ass he's going to use when it doesn't matter. You know who they play? Tennessee on the road. Denver, which, Denver should roll. And then they finish at Vegas. So they play two teams that are directly impact us, and they do not care.
That could be wonderful.
That could be potentially very interesting.
But you know what? Andy Reid is so pissed off that he's missing the playoffs. He's going to make Minshew go off, dude. He's going to take Gardner to a 3-0 record and remind everybody how great they're going to be when Mahomes comes back.
I could see him start ordering off of his Cheesecake Factory menu during the game the way this season's going to end for them, just because they're so used to being able to be roll in and do it. And the fact that they are literally playing games that don't matter, I think that's going to get ugly. And I think they could lose to one of those teams. Well, obviously I'm hoping they lose to one of those teams.
Well, this is going to be the second time in 8 years that they haven't hosted the AFC title game.
Yep.
What a statistic, man. Good for them.
And Chiefs fans want him to retire. They're like, he's cooked. It's over. You can't do it anymore.
I think that's my favorite part about the NFL and just fandom in general. I don't care how good you are. Half of your fan base thinks the quarterback's overrated, wants the coach to be fired, and just like, and that's just it. Everybody hates everybody.
Minnesota Vikings. They have a very talented roster overall. Pretty good line, though. It's been obviously injured this year. Justin Jefferson and receivers that are good, although you're going to probably be replacing Jalen Naylor after this year. I think he's gone. You got Ty Felton. We'll see if that works. You got a great tight end.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of defense that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You've got a great coordinator out. Now, that's going to be the question mark, obviously, and that's part of this.
If he gets a head coaching gig or not.
I don't think he will, but nevertheless, that's going to be a thing. So you obviously have Kevin O'Connell, who I think is a fantastic coach. I know Vikings fans are pissed at him. His situation has absolutely sucked this year. They've just been crushed by injuries. I think he's phenomenal. So you have a really good head coach. You have a really good defensive coordinator, who I also do not want anywhere near the Browns as a head coach. Don't put that on me. The biggest drawback, and they may ultimately go in a different direction, is they've done a lot of things really well. The area where they have struggled and they have been vulnerable is the draft. Maybe they changed GMs, but that's sort of been their weak point in terms of they've not gotten a lot of great return, and there's a risk for them to sort of start losing some of their roster or the quality of their roster by the virtue of the fact they're trying to do everything through free agency.
Yeah. So I'm taking the Vikings, no question. It's such a good roster. You've got difference makers at the wide receiver spot. I like TJ Hawkinson as a tight end. When the line is healthy, it's good. Darrishaw's a hell of a left tackle. There's a lot of good with the Vikings. And Kevin O'Connell's excellent. You nailed it. He's absolutely fantastic. I feel like he's the guy that maximizes quarterback production and quarterback value. I want that in my organization all the time. There's not many head coaches I would take over KOC. I think he's legit. You know,
he's fantastic.
My big drawbacks from Minnesota.
It's JJ McCarthy.
I think they have a good defense, but I feel like they're very scheme reliant. Like they've got a lot of nice players, but like they do a lot of crazy schematical stuff that like good quarterbacks can figure out, and good quarterbacks can get the best of Flores. You know, if he's not able to outsmart you, like he can get, so to speak. I like JJ McCarthy. I don't hate JJ. I think he's such a talented kid. And there's a lot of cringeworthy stuff. All the 9 stuff just kind of drives me crazy. But it's like you see in, you know, the glimpses of the talent. You see he's got great feet. He's a really nice, smooth athlete, and he's got a whip, man. He can sling the ball really, really well. If he, you know, kind of figures out the accuracy part a little bit. I hated seeing Justin Jefferson get as discouraged as he did like a few games ago, like hit a low point where he's doing all the demonstrative stuff and, you know, hanging his head, walking off the field and all that stuff. So I really hope that JJ can figure it out and, you know, get things going. He's so young. He needs more time. And it's just the roster's Super Bowl worthy. So it's like the problem's JJ and it's not really his fault. You know, it's just the evolution of a young quarterback, man. It's a tough spot to be in.
I agree with you. I think your best case for the Browns is basically arguing that you are in a better position to get a quarterback. The difference is, like, if we're saying Shedeur Sanders is an asset, they could theoretically draft another quarterback and be like, okay, we're not sure about JJ McCarthy, but we are damn sure if we can get a quarterback, we're going to be in good shape. And I also agree with you. I am worried that he's psychotic, and he plays like a madman at times, but he's really talented. So if he can figure it out and just go on a run, you're in great shape. But like, I don't think, unless the Vikings put themselves in a prison with JJ McCarthy, I think they can get out of this and be very good. So I agree with you. I take Minnesota. Another one I think we're probably going to agree on, Dallas. Dak Prescott is very good. They've got really good receivers. I expect they're going to re-sign George Pickens. Excellent line. They run the ball well, even with not really name running backs.
Javonte's pretty tough.
He's fine, really, but like nobody's sitting there going, man, you know, go get me Javonte Williams. Like,
no, of course. But like, I like running backs like that are going to get you. They're going to get you everything that's there, and they've got a little bit of he's a well-built kid. Like I think he's got good feet. I think the injuries have sapped the burst that made him a second rounder and made him pretty special at UNC. But like, I still think he's a good football player. I don't know. I like Javonte, but I'm with you. I take Dallas. I take Dallas. I
think it's easy. They're the Bengals with money.
Yeah.
Now you can say what you want about Jerry Jones, and I do think that's a detriment for them. But nevertheless, he will pay more money than the Bengals will, and they're in the same situation. Get a defense, figure that part out, and you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Baltimore has Lamar Jackson. He's a multiple-time MVP. They've certainly got superstar pieces, Kyle Hamilton, and guys in that vein. They've got some talented players like Zay Flowers. They've got an array of ways to beat you, but certain players are getting potentially older. Derrick Henry. You have to decide if you think Lamar Jackson is just temporarily hurt or if you're starting to see the decline. Offensive line is not in great shape. They've got to make some difficult decisions with free agents, as the Ravens usually do. They're good. They are underachieving this year. They seem to me like a candidate to bounce back in a big way next year. Yeah,
no, I'm going, and it kills me to do this because I never like saying anything positive about any of these dirt bags. But no, I take Baltimore, no question. I mean, between the coaching staff to the front office, just the organizational stability, they're really good at this football thing. They've been really good at it for a long time. They're always competitive. I like the fact that and nobody really talks about this anymore. And I think it's such a testament to his ability as a coach and not just to like figure something out, but like fully embrace stuff that works, right? Because you go back to 2018, Joe Flacco was taking that team to the doldrums, and they were awful and they were lifeless, and there were so many calls to fire Harbaugh, and they plug in Lamar and completely changed everything they did offensively to fit his talent and like never look back. And I love that about Harbaugh. I always have. Like I think he's just a damn good football coach that's going to make whatever collection of talent he gets work in whatever way he's got to do it. They've changed the defense in a variety of ways. Even last year, the defense took off last year because they moved Kyle Hamilton to free safety so he could be the center fielder, and it changed everything about the defense. It really opened it up. They became a top 10 unit like almost immediately. This year, it was the same damn thing, except they moved him more into the box. Yeah. It's like, okay, whatever works, you know?
I'd take the Ravens easily. You know, none of their problems are overwhelming. And I'm going to bet on Lamar Jackson to get very healthy again and be fine.
Yeah.
Carolina is interesting. Carolina, they do well on the line of scrimmage. Both sides, they win on the line of scrimmage at a reasonable rate. Tet McMillan's a good player. You can decide how much you like Bryce Young. J.C. Horn is a fantastic corner.
Yes.
They've got some guys, obviously they are sort of not great, 500 football team, but clearly headed in a better direction with Dave Canales as the head coach. You know,
he's added a toughness. He's added a running game for them. And especially Rico Dowdle's been a stud. But you saw it last year with Chuba Hubbard really came on since Canales has been there. You know, and they benched Bryce early last year. I'm super proud of that kid.
Did we lose Joe? It's just me. I'm guessing Joe froze. Yeah, man, Carolina's the one that's tough. I don't know that I really believe in Bryce Young over the long haul. And they are yearly like the sort of 2022 Cleveland Browns right now to me, when the Browns had Brissett as the quarterback. And I think they're going to sort of I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Let's start there. I think they're going to fall short. They're interesting. I'm not betting on Bryce Young to be my franchise quarterback. And that's ultimately where I get hung up on Carolina, even though I think they're good at a number of things. So I would probably take Carolina just because I think they have more talent, and particularly, again, the line of scrimmage. But it's I think that one's probably closer than people would like to admit. While he's hopefully working his way back, Detroit's gonna be easy. Detroit, you're gonna take Detroit. 8-6, 17th pick right now. They've dealt with injuries, unfortunately, some bad ones. The Achilles injuries they just suffered to their nickel safety is brutal. They've been dealing with injuries all year long, but they are very, very talented. They've got a quarterback. They've got weapons. They've got line. They've got all the things. They've got a couple things they've got to address, but they're going to be in great shape. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that Joe's going to take Detroit. I'm certainly going to take Detroit. The one where I think gets interesting all of a sudden is just because of their circumstances is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts just lost their quarterback, Daniel Jones, with an Achilles injury. They traded 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. Oh, Joe's back. Joe, I assume you're taking Detroit. I just wanted to skim over that one.
I'll take Detroit.
Okay. Here's where I think it gets interesting, though. The Indianapolis Colts, you just traded 2 picks for Sauce Gardner, great player, but Daniel Jones
the Browns. Stop
it's
where you are right there. Yeah.
And that's, man, if there's one thing that I need to be sort of etched into Berea, do not package picks. Just don't do it. Apparently it just puts the voodoo curse on you immediately. And it's like Final Destination for these guys.
Yep.
It's eventually going to kill you. You saw Sauce Gardner go down, and obviously his injury is not severe, but Micah Parsons done with an ACL. That stuff just absolutely kills you. The Falcons, obviously, with Penix, all these other ones. So the Colts are the one where, like, man, I don't see an easy way out for them. It's tough. And it's
very tough because they want nothing to do with Richardson, right?
Yep.
And now Daniel Jones, look, I'm sure they were head over heels with Daniel Jones, but like then he had a few kind of meh weeks and it wasn't great, and then he got hurt. So it's like not only is he going to be rehabbing an Achilles injury all off season, but you have to do something about your starter to begin the season. You can't just assume that he's going to be straight rehab and then just plug and play week 1. So it's like, what do they do at quarterback? He's also a free agent. He's on a 1-year deal.
Well, good news. Anthony Richardson's cleared from his orbital fracture, so he's
ready. Is that good news? I don't know how good.
Philip Rivers threw for 120.
Yeah.
So that is all the teams that, if the season ended today, would not be in the playoffs. I'm not going to go through the entire playoff list because I think the vast majority of them, you're going to take the team that's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The two teams that I will pick out 2 teams that I think are interesting conversations. Everything else I think is a clean sweep. Tampa, easily the Bucks. Philadelphia, easily the Eagles. Houston is one of the ones I think is interesting. Hold on to that thought. Pittsburgh's the other one I think is interesting. Green Bay easily. Buffalo, yeah, they got some stuff to figure out. Josh Allen's you're gonna take Josh Allen. I don't like Josh Allen, but you're gonna take Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Chicago, easy. Chargers, I mean, their situations.
I'm taking the Chargers, Pete.
I'm taking the Chargers all day. Yeah. I will say this. I remember when Jim Harbaugh was hired, and I saw all these prognosticators saying he was going to be in the AFC Championship in his second year, in the Super Bowl by his third year. And by the way, he's 10-4, so it's not like it's impossible.
He's 10-4 after losing 2 top 10 tackles, Pete. That's a big deal. Herbert's been banged up.
Yeah.
I mean, think if they had Slater and Joe. My gosh! Imagine if they had them. They won 10 games without him. You got to give him a little credit.
And yet, I don't like Harbaugh as a coach. I just don't. I do not like him as a coach. Like I fully acknowledge everything you're saying.
Yeah, he's a good coach, though.
He is a good coach. He is a good coach. I just do not want him to be my coach. I just don't. And like, you can say that's irrational or whatever. Like the way they operate just drives me nuts. And I think there's a part of this where I think they are going to always run into trouble in the playoffs. Obviously, he went to a Super Bowl. He went to the Super Bowl, and Colin Kaepernick was fantastic when they went to the Super Bowl. All credit to them. I just feel like there's a cap to how far he can go with what he does. And maybe that's entirely unfair. And again, I'm saying this about a 10-4 football team while my team is 3-11. So I'm an idiot.
I get what you're saying. And look, I don't love Harbaugh at all. I find him very annoying, if I'm going to be honest. But the dude can coach. And as soon as the Chargers hired him, I said they're going to play tough defense and run the ball, and he's going to have Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
Harbaugh's always done that. He's always run the ball well. He's been a hard-nosed team. He's had a tough defense. Now he's got a quarterback who's an absolute witch. That is the only reason I look at that situation, and I'm like, okay. Like, part of the reason this kid's talented, and that's a system that works.
Part of the reason I don't like Harbaugh is because he treats his very, very good quarterback like he's disposable. I do not understand it. Like, you would think he'd protect him with all of his worth. Hey, your hand's basically hanging on to your wrist by a thread. Get out there and run. There. Yeah, like that stuff.
Tape on there. Let's run some RPOs.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
I don't want to talk about Jacksonville.
The Jags. But I'm like, I don't feel good about it. I don't know how far they're going to go. New England easily, Seattle easily, Rams easily, Denver easily. So the two teams that I think are interesting conversations. Pittsburgh obviously is theoretically in the playoffs. They're 8-6. They obviously beat the crap out of the Dolphins. They've won 2 in a row. They've sort of chased off the bad vibes around their locker room, and Aaron Rodgers is currently collecting his elderly receivers to bring them back. You've got Marquez Valdez Scandling back. The Jets just released Lazard, so he'll probably be there shortly.
He already got his bus ticket, Pete. He'll be in Pittsburgh by morning.
Yeah. So the Steelers obviously have a lot of talent on defense. It's underachieving defense. And then just in general, like DK Metcalf's an absolute beast. There's no getting around that. They've got interesting weapons in that, but obviously a very incomplete offense. And their defense is just the biggest thing with them is they're old. They're an old defense. Jalen Ramsey is old. Cameron Hayward is eternal, unfortunately, for the Browns. TJ Watt, his situation is not because of his age, but he is not played as well as he has in previous years. Yeah. And they're paying him a ton of money.
That's just the start of that deal, too.
Yes, they've got not quite Deshaun Watson money tied into him, but ugly contract years that if he can't be that guy, become a very, very, very big problem for them. So that one's, and obviously no obvious answer quarterback after this.
No, I'm taking the Browns in this because I think the defense, I lean Cleveland with the defense. I mean, system and franchise, I mean Pittsburgh, but you look at that coaching staff, and I love Tomlin. I love Tomlin as the CEO of a football team, right? I think he's excellent at it. But he has been the leader of one of the worst offensive teams in football for a long time. Last night was that the 60th game in a row that they failed to score 7 or more points in the first quarter. And you're going to lose Aaron Rodgers, if not next year. Hopefully it's this. Actually, no. I mean, hopefully they bring it back for another.
Bring it back. He's playing great. He's playing. Yeah, he's got a mojo back. It looks like Fountain of Youth. Let's go. Resign him.
I mean, between all the age on that roster, some of the bad contracts, and like you nailed it. Between like Ramsey, it's going to be done soon. Hayward's going to be done soon.
I hope.
Who knows with TJ Watt, especially at that contract. I mean, there's a lot about Pittsburgh to like on paper, and there's a lot to look at and just be like they're scraping by in like one of the worst divisions in football, and they're scraping by.
They're one bad loss from everybody hating each other again. But look, Pittsburgh, please look. Do you see how much fun Aaron Rodgers is having right now? Like, let's sign him up. Winning. He's loving it. He's loving life right now. You better sign him. You don't want to miss out. He could go somewhere else. He could be in Indianapolis by the end of the week if you don't sign him to a new contract. Okay. The other one is Houston. I think Houston's really.
I'll disagree with you for even having this question.
He's fantastic.
I got to disagree.
It's fantastic. They have a fantastic wide receiver leading the group. They've got some question marks at other spots. Dalton Schultz is a pro. Their offensive line is a train wreck. I think the question here, because I think everything points to Houston with one potential caveat. How much do you believe in CJ Stroud?
I like CJ Stroud. I believe very much in CJ Stroud. I feel like CJ Stroud is regressing from how he came into the league. And when I mean that is like how he came into the league, he came in confident. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he's a different player now mentally. And I don't know if it's bad habits of playing behind a crappy line and all the system changes.
I think it's absolutely that.
Yeah.
I think he had blocking in his first year in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had blocking since. And they actively made their offensive line worse this offseason, which was a fascinating choice.
Yeah.
And
even in season, they traded Cam Robinson.
Well, yeah, after they traded Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I think he has picked up a whole lot of bad habits playing behind a bad line. And, I agree with you. I think he's really talented.
Yeah.
I hope, and I don't want to compare it in terms of like, I think he's going to be out of the league because they injure him to that point because he's not getting injured. But there is an element to this. Please don't make him into Tim Couch in terms of what you are doing to him, in terms of you take a very, 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 very good quarterback and make him into a bad quarterback because you just make it a disaster around him, which is currently what they are doing up front. I would still take the Texans, but I think that's the one that's like, I think there are people out there sort of like, I think CJ Stroud is sort of just like a guy as opposed to the guy. And when you take him at the top of the draft like that, in essence, does CJ Stroud become Kyler Murray / Trevor Lawrence. I'm on that, but I know there are some people who are like, I think that's where it's trending.
Yeah, well, and that's the whole thing too. I pointed it out as a negative when I was talking about Carolina, but you're going to have to make a decision financially on CJ Stroud. And as of right now, CJ Stroud can probably command a little bit more money than Bryce Young because he at least has the playoff trip under his belt. But that's a problem they have is starting as early as next year. I mean, they're going to talk about it this offseason. He's eligible this offseason, isn't it? Or is it after your 4th year you're eligible for the extension?
Well, you can get after 3. Yeah. You can sign him after 3. It's just a question of, are they ready for that? My guess would be probably not, but maybe
I wouldn't be either. But if you're CJ Stroud, what the hell's the problem?
Yeah.
Get me an offensive line. You think I'm the problem? Get me some blocking.
I agree. So
that's a tough negotiation.
Obviously, there's still 3 games left, but just looking at the situations around the league, the Browns, God willing, are going to have the 2nd pick in the draft, if just based on the odds.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the second, and I don't think most people think, but there are people who are like, this is hopeless, it's never going to work. The Browns are in a way better position than a lot of teams. Obviously, there's more pressure on them to sort of make the most of the situation they are in.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people would come to some of the same. There's probably a few people would quibble with some of our picks and say we're homers, which is fine. But there's a lot of them. I think it's pretty clear cut. And the fact that it's interesting with a team like Pittsburgh is, I think, makes the case in a lot of ways that Pittsburgh may limp into the playoffs, and they're not going to go anywhere, and it's not going to advance the cause much. And that's not to say that making the playoffs isn't worth it, but if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you're sitting there going, "We've been doing this forever." And obviously,
how is this any different?
You're going, "We've been doing this forever," but still. So, that's sort of where I just come off on this whole thing. Is and I agree. I think the Browns situation looks infinitely better, and plenty will disagree when you tell me I have Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Bray running my team as opposed to the mystery box. But yeah. So anyway, that was sort of what I was jumping into with that. But I do want to get to the Shedeur Sanders stuff.
All right. Well, let's talk about Shedeur. So obviously Sunday was a rough one. And if you look at it on paper, you get, oh man, he had a 30 point something QBR, and if he would have spiked it on every snap, it would have been 39. That's how bad he played. Yada yada yada.
Right.
So here's at least my takeaway from Shedeur, and I would love to get your thing on this. He's the same young quarterback with a lot of issues that he needs to work through that he was last week and the week before and the week before then. What I like that I'm seeing from Shedeur is that he has a calmness about him and a composure about him that even, I feel like he's never he hasn't gotten Rams preseason or second half Baltimore level erratic since. Every chance he's had the ability to prep all week and you're the starter going in, he's not getting thrown in mid-game, he's had a different look and a different feel about him. I've been impressed week to week with a number of the throws that he's making, but it's hard to evaluate him because he's doing all of this in a very flawed, very deficient offense. Mm-hmm. So it's so hard. It's so hard to judge anybody. It just is, Mm-hmm. So it's you look for the little, not everybody, but it's tough to judge the wide receivers because they don't have consistent quarterback play. Same thing with the tight ends. It's tough to judge the backs in the line because there's no threat at quarterback or in the passing game. So you're getting 8 and 9 man boxes saying, okay, anybody but Judkins can beat us. Go ahead and try. So it's there's all these little things. I want to see signs. I want to see NFL level ability. I want to see NFL throws. And I like what I've seen from him. I like what I've seen enough that I want to see more. What's your takeaway on Shedeur?
I agree with all of that. As I said earlier, I came out of the 49ers game extraordinarily discouraged. And it's because he was
that second half was bad.
He was looking at stuff and not throwing it.
Yeah.
I can live with him figuring stuff out and throwing it because, look, you can talk about the 3 turnover worthy plays, and I'm taking away the Judy one because that was a beautiful ball.
Yeah.
But what I'm adding is the one that he tried to throw that short one to Harold Fannin where the guy jumped it and tried to make a play out. Now, there's certainly an argument you can put a lot of that on Fannin. Those plays aren't good. At some point, I'm going to say, yeah, he's got to do a better job of locating the underneath linebacker. I'm also going to say the linebacker just made a hell of a play. Like,
yeah.
If Carson Schwarzenegger makes that play, we think he's a hero.
Yep.
Not that the quarterback's a bum. Like, TJ Edwards made a great play.
Yeah.
The other one, he got fooled. And that's going to happen. And that's part of this is he just hasn't seen a whole lot. It was not great at deciphering defenses coming out of colleges, no matter what anyone wants to tell you. Didn't get exposed to a lot. And when teams tried to switch things up on him or he got stuff he didn't expect, his reaction usually was hold the ball and get whacked. Yeah. I'm glad he's not doing that. I mean, he is taking longer to process, which isn't great, but he is at least throwing. But that stuff I can live with because I'm also seeing him figure some stuff out. And what he's figuring out is that if I could throw deep. Like if everybody's going to hug the box like they are like that, where you get 6 and 7 man fronts, I can find guys down the field. And not like those balls to the 2 balls that were caught, the balls that were on the money to Bond were on the money. Like they were on time, right in the perfect spot. Like the one is literally bang, bang in terms of he hits the hole right where he's supposed to. And then the guy gets hit. Like that was a really difficult throw. And then there's a couple other ones where he recognizes where it's Isaiah Bond and maybe he's a half a beat late or he can't step into his throw because the pocket's collapsing, but he sees it. And that makes him more interesting on one hand. It also makes him more dangerous because, he got 47 and 42. He gets better at this thing. That connection gets better. They could be touchdown and touchdown or, touchdown and set up touchdown or something along those lines. So like, that stuff I'm really happy with. You can see him almost fighting his demons in the pocket at points, but he's fighting them. And he's not, there were a couple bad sacks, like real bad. But for the most part, he's coming up with better answers. And this was with an offensive line where I don't know if he has any idea who Garrett Dellinger is playing right guard after Tevin Jenkins, who was playing hurt to begin with.
Yeah.
Like his shoulder basically gave out. He's staying in there. He's doing the thing. We want him. He's trying to play quarterback. And I want like that stuff, is encouraging to me. The other part about that that's encouraging to me is listening to him in the post game. I listened to a guy who, and I guarantee there are people who are sitting there going, you lost 31-3 and this is how you sound. I like his energy in terms of I think he understands what this is about. I don't know how much this is communicated to him by the coaching staff and basically saying, look, man, this is what the situation is. We want you to focus on being the best quarterback you can be. Yes, we want to try to win the game, but we want you to be a good quarterback, not try to win and be a bad quarterback. And because it's just not going to work in the NFL. But like when you listen to him in the post game talk, he sounds like a guy who's sort of like excited to learn. And I want to read into it that he sort of found a new appreciation for what he's being told because I don't think he's heard it before. Yeah. In terms of the nuances of the position in the game.
Coaching and hard coaching.
Whatever. Yeah. Part of that's because he's had the same damn head coach his entire life up until this year. Yeah. And that's not a knock on Deion, but it's a recognition that Deion's job was to win football games, not necessarily focus on the development piece. Whereas the Browns are in a position because of the record of where they are, where they can focus on the development piece. And I got the impression, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, that he's like in this mode where he's like, feed me all the information you get. Give me all the learning I can get. I want more of this stuff because I'm going to use it and get better. My hope is that because Buffalo's going to do a lot of the same stuff in terms of zone and disguise coverages, stuff that he hasn't seen a whole lot of. They're probably going to blitz him a good amount because why wouldn't you? I'm hoping he's going to bounce back from this game and show more of the right things in the next game, the same way he did not look good against the 49ers, look downright discouraging against the 49ers, and then come back against the Titans game and play well. Now, does that mean he needs to throw for 393 or 360 or whatever it was? No, I would certainly enjoy that, but I don't need him to do that. If he wants to throw, if he can throw for 250 and 2 and continue to display like better habits, great, because there are a lot of good reps. And the same thing I got out of Kevin Stefanski's press conference. You know, he sounds a lot like, as I was watching this and sort of reacting to it, he sort of was saying a lot of the things I was thinking watching the game, because he's like, look, man, there's stuff that's not going to be very good in there, but there's stuff to be encouraged by, or what I should say what he said on Monday, because he's usually resistant to comment too much until he sees the tape. But he's like, there's a lot of encouraging stuff. I agree. So I don't care about the numbers. I'm not going to get caught up in his QBR. Like, I'm not betting my job on him already. So I don't really care about that stuff. I'm more interested in seeing what he can learn and what he can get better at, because in a world where hopefully this coaching staff and everything is still here, I want them to give this kid stuff to do in the offseason, because I think he's shown a willingness to just get after it and work.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be, in so much as it's, league admissible, texting the hell out of Tommy Rees through the offseason, trying to get better, like, and Kevin Stefanski, all those guys. Like, so I'm happy with that stuff. Like, I don't like the product, and it can be discouraging, all these other things, but like, man, I'm more than anything, I hope the line holds up long enough that he can survive the 3 games, because I just want to see him get through it and keep playing.
That's one thing, because as you noted with his presser, that's one thing that I really like about him. You see a lot of young guys when they struggle and they say all the right things and all that, but like, it's not believed. Like, he's a very genuine, like, he seems like he's absolutely enjoying everything that he's going through, and he's embracing it, and he knows he's got to grow, and he's got a good head on his shoulders about it. I mean, I feel like the most impressive part about him this whole year has been his ability to navigate a pretty tough media, especially given his situation and all the things being said and all the outside noise. You know what I mean? There's opportunity for him on a weekly basis to put his foot in his mouth, Pete. There's always a microphone in his face, camera in his face, people asking about Stefanski and this and why don't this. And I'm just saying. He's a young man that could easily make that mistake, and he hasn't.
That's true. Part of that is because he's media savvy, but there are so many in the media who treat him with the softest of soft gloves.
Oh, of course.
So it's
those are the Dion friends that are Stefanski's got to go. He's racist.
I'm talking local. There are some local folks, and I'm not going to name names because you can figure it out if you listen to them. They're big. Hey Shador, how do you feel like you did today, and like all these other things? Like, there's just there's a way they talk to him that's a little bit different than how they talk to Dylan.
I feel like because he's such a likable kid.
I don't doubt that that's part of it. I don't doubt that that's part of it. But there are questions where it's very soft on him, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm just saying there are times where you're like, man, they are really they're like to me, I think there's times where they just straight baby him to the point where I think it's unnecessary. Like, well, I think it actually makes him look worse in that.
I get what you're saying, but like, my problem with Shador is like, I don't look at Shador on Sunday and be like, okay, well, like, how did Cam Ward look in this situation? Or how did, Jackson Dart look? Or how about Tyler Shuck? Because like, none of those situations, right? But the Browns are unique. Like, we've seen another rookie in this offense, and we've seen a very, very tenured veteran in this offense. And neither guy could take a piss without hitting the front of their pants, Pete. Like, it was that bad. So it's like, it's so hard for me to not get encouraged by what I see from Shador, even when the numbers are bad, because I have eyes and I can see the difference in their styles of play between him and Gabriel and the offense. Like, I get disappointed now if it's a 3 and out. I'm like, oh, something like, what the hell? Like, they missed this block or this, that, and the other. When we had 3 and outs earlier in the season, I'm like, what do you expect? Like, what are we even doing?
Of course I still feel that way, but I know what you mean. Like, no, I agree. Like, if you can make a statistical argument that Dillon Gabriel is better than Shedeur.
Yes, absolutely.
But to your point, I have eyes. Like, I can see the offense is more interesting. There's more going on. There's more plays to be made. Like, that's why I don't care.
There's more area that you have to cover defensively. Like, it's just a different feel.
It's not good. He's not good, but like, I'm okay. Like, that's fine. Do you know what? Who else is good? The Browns. The Browns are not good. Like, I will get over it. You know, that's why I'm not banking on it. I'm not like, if they're in position, I'm drafting a guy. If they're not, I'm getting a veteran. But like,
but I'm with you that I don't want to trade up though.
100%.
This team needs every bit of those first 3 picks. We need.
Yeah. I mean, they need all the help they can get. But like, it's just. But I also sit there and go, man, he's interesting, and if he can get better, then okay, I'm interested. But like, if not, he's a 5th round pick. Like, but that's the thing. I'm not betting my job on him. I bet when you took the swings you took with Kenny Pickett, who did not exactly light the world on fire with the Raiders, not terribly surprising there, or Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, the combination of expenses you put into those guys is not very much. So like, one of them being interesting going into next year is, to me, a success. Does that mean it's going to lead to something great? Not necessarily. Shedeur could end up being exactly, the thing that the people who don't like him think he will be. I'm not going to rule that out by any stretch, but just him being interesting heading into the offseason, to me, is successful. The other part about this is, like, I think the more he plays, the less we're hearing about, all the nonsense and conspiracies. I'm sure it's all still out there. I just haven't seen it as much.
Yeah.
I think people are starting to realize that, oh my God, there's a reason he's got a lot to improve upon. And the Brown situation is not great, but he's also he's not the guy that was going to come into the league and take over that some thought he would be. And hopefully we're getting to a point where now we can treat him like a real football player as opposed to
a celebrity.
Weird thing that like was never real.
Yeah, it was an idea. There was an idea of him that people have clung to. And look, and I'm a Shedeur guy. I wanted him early. I'm happy we have him. But like, you didn't watch his tape at Colorado and say that's a really clean player. Like he's going to transition fast. No. Everything was shotgun. Everything was backyard. They have no running game. They had no line. Like, he was a walking, like, and talking, like, bad habit of a quarterback.
Yep.
It's just like there's natural ability there that is super intriguing. I think the Browns have done a really nice job in this just 1 year of ironing out some of those things and getting him. He looks comfortable playing under center.
Yes.
It's just like,
yes, big time.
Right.
Huge.
And that's what's shocking to me. I feel like keep him comfortable, keep him in the shotgun. That's where he's good. Keep everything in front of him. Don't make him turn his back to the defense. Hell no. They are training him as an NFL quarterback, and I like that, man. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's like, I've gotten pushback on this, but this is why I think Kevin Stefanski has been great for him, because he tones down the noise, lets him be a football player, and just coaches him. He's not treating him like a celebrity. He's treating him like a football player who has a whole bunch of things he needs to improve upon. And the kid seems to, if nothing else, he's 23. He gets it. He seems to get it more than most people seem to get it with him. That this is part of the process, and he's at least interesting, which is fine. And I'm hoping he has another successful game. I'm hoping, it'd be great against Pittsburgh, but I expect him to I expect 3 more games where the Browns are effectively going to take their medicine. We'll see what happens with Cincinnati by that point, because your defense is very good. But still, like, I just don't see a whole lot of reason to believe that they're going to be like, other than maybe the Bengals, depending on what they do. I'm not picking them to win the Bills or the Steelers game. And I'm also not going to sit here and get upset when they don't, because I can sort of see this and go, yeah, they're bad. And I kind of need them to be at this point in the year, other than getting better at what they need to get better at. Because the stuff that they need to fix ultimately isn't here. And it's not going to be here in 2-3 more games. Like,
No.
Harold Fannin's going to continue to be good. Harold Fannin is really good. Good enough that he went to the well too many times, and the defense is like, we know you're going to Harold Fannin, we're going to take this away, which is a credit to Harold Fannin. Quinshon Judkins is going to be really good. He's not going to get any blocking between now and the end of the season.
And I'll tell you, that's one thing that has killed me recently because of the ascension, the second half of the season of Travion Henderson. Is people are losing their mind. Andrew Berry took the wrong Buckeye, yada, yada, yada. You flip-flop those guys, and the New England Patriots are an even better football team, in my opinion. I really like Travion. I really do. I think Quinshon is a legitimate – he's an every down stud. I truly believe that. He has nothing to work with right now. Absolutely.
I agree. I don't – I think it's honestly at this point 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, honestly, if you flip them. They just do different things well. Quinshon fits what the Browns need him to do better. Travion Henderson fits what the Patriots need him to do better, which is he gets to be a home run hitter where they've got thick backs that sort of
they got Stevenson taking all the big hits doing all the dirty work. Absolutely.
If you're using him this is why it worked at Ohio State. Like, if you're using him as sort of Dylan Sampson in your offense, okay, like he's just bigger. He's going to be better. But overall, I think Quinshon and Dylan Sampson is a really good combination. I'm super bummed that Dylan Sampson
is out with a calf,
and presumably, when I see Trevion Williams being signed off a practice squad, I'm thinking, oh crap,
that can't be good on our boy Rocket Sanders. That's for sure.
Well, but ultimately,
he's more of a third down back, pass protector, that sort of deal.
Well, he's what Dylan Sampson does, which makes me worried that we're not going to see Dylan Sampson anymore this year. I'm hoping he's going to be back, but when you go out and get a guy like that, I don't know that I think they're sort of preparing for the fact that we're going to be another game without him, which is unfortunate because he was playing well.
At this point, wouldn't you kind of lean towards the side of caution and shut down Sampson anyway?
Perhaps. I mean, yes, but
especially with a calf, and anytime I hear calf, I get so scared about Achilles. So yeah, I'm shutting Sampson down personally. As much as the fan in me wants to see him play every single Sunday, ever since the Mike Hall injury a year ago in week freaking 18, I cancel the game. Just cancel it.
Yes, I completely I'm with you on that. If he's hurt, I don't want him back out there. It's more like I want guys who are healthy out there to get an opportunity to get better, because I think Dylan Sampson was really starting to figure out what he's going to be in this offense, and it looked good. Obviously, the fumble wasn't great, but man, he was really dangerous out of the backfield. And again, if they can figure out some blocking, those two are going to be good. But overall, nothing's really going to change my mind in 3 games negatively about this team. I know what they don't have. I'm just hoping that nobody else gets hurt, and maybe some positive development, and Myles Garrett gets his record. But other than that, and Fanning gets his record because he's got a shot. He will. Well, I shouldn't say shot. He will pass the rookie record of Kevin Johnson for receptions in a season. And I don't know what it is for yardage, but I know it's for receptions. He's going to pass that pretty easily as long as he just stays alive.
What did KJ have? 78, 80, something like that?
Let's find out. I think he had
it was him, Tim Couch, and Darren Shiverini killing it back in the day.
Darren Shiverini, good God.
The Colorado Buffalo.
Yes, he and coached there for a minute.
Yeah.
Kevin, this is wrong. Kevin Johnson. Got the corner. I mean, you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on that team and all kinds of just guys that
Rashawn Salam was on that team.
Kevin Johnson went 66 for 986 and 8.
Wow. 13 away from 1,000.
He was man, the 4 deuces. It's a shame. And Kevin Johnson was obviously when you're like, man, this kid could be pretty good. And it just did not. Yeah. He got 1,000 one year in 2001.
Who was the worst of the 4?
Andre Davis.
You think so? You think he was worse than Quincy?
I think he was Andre
Quincy. Quincy had a couple of bricks on the end of his hands, man. Quincy was.
Oh. I remember Andre Davis had one game where he had 3 touchdowns against the 49ers. That was
he had that 99-yarder from Garcia. You remember that bad boy? That was a fun one.
Quincy Morgan was like, wasn't
they
good.
took Quincy Morgan over Chad Johnson. They took Quincy Morgan over who was there was a Wisconsin wide receiver that went to Miami that was really good.
Chambers.
Chris Chambers. I love Chris Chambers. Oh,
Quincy Morgan actually hit 964 yards in 2002.
Of course he did.
Yeah, every other year was
terrible.
432, 516, 404.
Do you remember in 2003 when they traded Kevin Johnson and then hung like 40 on the Cardinals, throwing to Quincy and Andre Davis? You remember that one?
Yeah, Andre Davis never got over his high watermark with the Browns was 576. And
that 2002 draft was like the ultimate what the hell were you thinking, Butch Davis? Like, just go back to the well, Butch. At 16, take Ed Reed. In the second round, take Clinton Portis. What are we doing? What are we doing, Butch? What are we doing?
My favorite of that was the Browns had James Jackson. And then at one point, who he took in the third round for some reason. And then at
the worst Miami running back they've ever had. No,
he found the landmine. He found it. But it gets worse because at one point there was a team, I think it was Carolina or somebody, it may have been Miami, who was offering him a fourth round pick.
He said no.
And he said no. He wouldn't.
And they cut him in 2 weeks.
And then they cut him. Yeah, they absolutely cut him instead of taking a fourth round pick. It's one of the all-time Butch Davis moves. So good. Oh,
Jeremiah Farms, that was another good one. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, this is where like people are like, Andrew Berry's the worst draft. Really? Did you ever draft a kid who got arrested after you picked him, but before he got to rookie camp and it was arrested for, and it was ultimately was not convicted of, I think it was attempted murder.
Mm-hmm. No, it was something with a gun. I know it was something with a gun.
And then his kid, he obviously basically lost his NFL career. And then his kid made it to the league.
Yeah.
I think he might be in the UFL. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just Butch Davis, the whole thing. The whole thing. I will never forgive ever. Richard Seymour. Yep. Richard Seymour.
Big money.
Everybody goes, we're going in, we're picking Richard Seymour. It's gonna be great. Gerard Warren.
My favorite thing about that, Pete, is like you could take Gerard, or you could take Richard Seymour, or you could take LaDainian Tomlinson. That's okay.
Both Hall of Famers, and you took Gerard Warren.
Well, Gerard Warren gave him a really tough time in the Sugar Bowl that year, Pete. I don't know if you remember that.
No, he kept picking guys. He tried to recruit in college. That was his whole thing.
I'm finally going to get you.
God. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Well, let's go back to receivers real quick.
Uh-huh.
So we've kind of, I mean, I was excited. You kind of tempered my enthusiasm early on, and for good reason, because like he needs work. But I'm really intrigued by Isaiah Bond.
Yep.
Because I love the fact that he seems like he's always open. He tracks the ball well downfield. He's got a nice set of hands, and the speed is evident. We talk about it all the time. We need to be faster. We need speed. I feel like we got some. I'm excited about him.
This is setting the bar extremely low, and he won this team a football game.
Yeah.
I will never forget. Let anyone forget this. Anthony Schwartz led the Browns to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2022 between special teams, his end around, and other things. And this is not high praise. He's already better than Anthony Schwartz ever was for this team.
Yep.
You know, obviously Anthony Schwartz was legitimately good at special teams.
Yep.
So one thing, he was a very good gunner and did some other things on special teams. But as a receiver, Isaiah Bond is already proven more to me than Anthony Schwartz ever did. And he still does some knuckleheaded stuff in terms of, you know, feel and awareness. He's starting to figure some stuff out. Like the whole thing with him was proving that he could be a legit deep threat. And they've got a connection going. Again, in the press conference after the game, like Shedeur Sanders is like, we got to keep doing this. And I totally get it. He had 2 receptions for 89 yards. If that becomes wide receiver 4 for this football team, and you can get another weapon, and you have Jerry Jeudy, even though people hate Jerry Jeudy again, and you have Cedric Tillman, you have Harold Fannin, like I'm good with that. Like that's a good setup. If every so often, a couple shots a game or every other game or something that Isaiah Bond comes up and goes for 50 on a reception and just an explosive play instantly gets your offense going or creates the immediate points. Like back when John Dorsey was still in charge and they found that little magic with Brashad Perryman for like a minute. Mm-hmm. Like it opened up the offense in a way, and so I'm hoping this can last longer than that did because Brashad Perryman ultimately got paid a bunch of money and then went back to being bad. Yeah. But like Isaiah Bond, you've got him for a couple of years. You got him for free. Obviously not the greatest circumstances for him, but he was cleared of everything. Like we talk about that. And again, I don't think you're getting necessarily what third round pick value or fourth round pick value is, or would have gotten, like the people who think he was going to go that high.
Yeah.
But for undrafted free agent value or say 5th through 7th round value, you're thrilled. Fantastic. You're loving what you're getting from Isaiah Bond in terms of a developmental receiver, which when you throw him in the bag with Malachi Corley, who I continue to enjoy as a 5th or 6th receiver, when whatever Jamari Thrash's situation, he was off the team for 20 minutes and back on the team. Obviously, they need to and engage Larvadane's the other one. You got this grab bag of guys that if one or two of those guys can be a component in your offense, great. You obviously still need more, but you paid nothing to get these guys.
Yeah.
So if you get something out of them, to me that's a success. And there are people like, well, this is the worst wide receiver room in the league. I don't know if I agree with that, but like those guys advance the cause in terms of if you get, let's say they're out of position and you add a Carnell Tate.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden, like there's a very clear setup in this offense in terms of premium guys and role players that I think works. And obviously you've got to hit that pick if that's the pick you make. And if you get a quarterback, then you've got to figure out another avenue to draft a dude, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's workable. So I'm excited about what Bond is becoming, even if it still got to keep going. But like, to your point, like of all the guys who are rookies, what does an offseason of work look like where Isaiah Bond is doing nothing but working on being a better receiver is intriguing.
Yeah, agreed. And, if you can add, because I mean, every single Browns fan knows that we need a true number one receiver. I mean, that's the easiest thing to say. And finding one is the difficult aspect of that, right? But if you can plug in a true number one receiver to this offense, everybody moves down. So your number one wide receiver who isn't good enough is Jerry Jeudy, who becomes a very interesting number 2. And then you've got guys like Isaiah Bond, who right now is basically your fringe 3. He becomes a 4. And whoever's starting, whether it's, at the moment it's Cedric Tillman, he's a 3. Like all of that has a trickle-down effect, and it strengthens every aspect of that room. Competition, like iron sharpens iron, all that stuff. What kind of offseason would be ideal for you when it comes to adding talent to that room? What are you looking to do? Are you looking to add a veteran? Are you looking to only supplement through the draft? A little bit of both.
If there's a trade, like if there's the Amari Cooper trade sitting out there that I don't see, great.
Yeah.
I know that's going to happen. I certainly don't want to do free agency.
It's just an overpay. It's just a gross overpay.
You are just begging to get ripped off. Like I do not want to get basically the Calvin Ridley contract, which is just terrible on its face.
A nightmare. Yeah.
So I just want to draft it. And if let's say they take a quarterback and, they take either a receiver at the end of the first / that second round pick, I'm already thinking about taking another one in 2027. Yeah. That's my thought process on the matter is they've done trades. I know how many people are down at Jerry Jeudy. I'm still happy with it for the money and this season being what it is. I think you can get him back to being what he was last year, especially with more help. But if you just hit it through the draft and you can just develop those guys and use the premium resources as opposed to going 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th round picks because they haven't had picks. 1, call me. I'll help you out. And then 2, just get one of those guys to work, and you're going to be in way better position offensively, and it's just going to open things up. Like, get some element of what the Bengals can cause for teams in terms of helping out your offensive line and creating space on the field. And Isaiah Bond is already helping in that element.
Yeah.
But obviously I would like more. And then, if you do get a number one, like, Jerry Jeudy becomes infinitely more dangerous because he can be instant offense. So, like, I like the setup at that point. And I'm not concerned about the money they're paying him because it's not that much overall. And
Grand scheme, he's making half as much as your top line starters. He's making what, like 16, 17 maybe?
Like 17 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to your point, the best receivers in the league make 40 or 35 to 40. So, like, okay, I can live with that. And if I can get 1,200 yards out of him again, sign me up. Like, I will live with that all day.
I think that's my biggest issue with the Jeudy stuff, Pete. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
But my thing with the Jeudy stuff is I look at a talented kid who has been in nightmare situation after nightmare situation for a passing attack in an NFL offense. He literally, the year he had last year, after only getting 7 or 8 games with Jameis Winston, and he looked that good. I mean, there were games. The Denver game, he was unstoppable, but it wasn't just that. He tore it up. He was really, really good. And I understand everybody's frustration with him because there is so much inconsistency. He's not an overly likable guy when it comes to the media and some of his answers and all that stuff. And the drops are an issue, but it's like wide receiver is one position that I'm all about excuses, man, because they're so reliant on so many things. So it's like that. I'm always going to have a longer leash with a guy who's a wide receiver, especially a wide receiver in a tough situation. So it's like, it's like judging Shador. It's tough to judge these receivers in this offense the way that it's constructed right now. It just is, and don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that we don't need help there. I get that, but it's tough for me to say that this guy can't play or that guy can't play and we need to do, this, that, or the other.
Well, there's 2 parts to this. One, nobody's sitting there going Justin Jefferson can't play. Because he's obviously not having a Justin Jefferson-like season. He's probably may not even hit 1,000 yards, though he still could. But he's so damn good. But he's not having a typical Justin Jefferson season where you do pay him $35 to $40 million. Now, the other question is, who do you think is second in the league? Who do you think? Jerry Jeudy leads the league with 9 drops. I don't like drops. But who do you think is in the tie for second with 8? Great receivers.
Jamar?
No. Oh, wait a minute. He has 6.
Okay.
He has 6 drops.
Okay.
Brian Thomas Jr., if you think he's good or not, has 8. Yeah. But the guys who are good. Oh, by the way, and there's one that's really interesting name that's going to piss people off because they've been bitching the Browns didn't pick him. CeeDee Lamb is tied for the league lead or second in the league with 8 drops. You see him drop the ball a lot. Nobody's going to sit there and get mad at him because he has 1 million yards, which is what the equation was we dealt with last year. Yeah, Jerry has drops. He also has 1,200 yards. I don't care.
Yeah.
Devontae
the
Adams.
difference is, does he have a quarterback that's going to keep feeding him good passes in a good situation?
Devontae Adams, 8 drops. Jamison Williams, who I talked about is Jerry Jeudy in terms of that. Jamison Williams, 8 drops. The guy who will piss people off because they desperately wanted him. Emeka Egbuka, 8 drops. Emeka Egbuka, oh, the Browns better draft him. Oh, they should have drafted him at 5. I've heard people argue 8 drops. It's weird when we care about drops and when we don't care about drops. And don't get me wrong, Jerry Jeudy's situation is completely out of whack. He's dropping way too many balls relative to the production he has. But the overall point is, Ted McMillan, by the way, has 6 drops. Mm-hmm. If your guy produces, you don't care because they're producing. So, like, you don't.
It's a part of football.
It is the game. Yeah. It's just you are going to have guys who drop the football. And great players who drop the football. So I don't care about that. Like, people will get very worked up about guys who drop balls coming out of college. Now, I will sit there and watch how they drop the ball coming out of college. Is it, they legitimately don't try to catch the ball with their hands? Is it concentration? Is it taking their eye off it? Is it they don't do a very good job of tracking the ball, and they got that Braylon Edwards thing where seemingly the running style causes the ball to bounce based on their vision, so you jump to try to stop the ball and catch it that way. Like, I'll look at that stuff and figure it out. But, like, the bottom line, if you're going to get me 1,500 yards and drop some balls, okay, I will
live with it.
Yeah. So, like, I just don't get too caught up in that stuff. So, like, yeah, he's got to be better. This is a bad year. But to your point, like, it's been a terrible year for the quarterback position, and that translates to everything else. So, like, if they can figure that piece out, and when, other than the ball, obviously put it right in his freaking chest on Sunday, which is a beautiful throw, it would have been a spectacular touchdown. When Shedor's
my issue with the body catchers, Pete, that right there, you snatch that with your hands, it's not a question.
Yeah. If when Shedor's put the ball on him on the money on time, it's not just been good. It's been easy. It's been effortless. Yeah. So, like, I don't care. So, people are going, oh, they got to get rid of Jerry Jeudy this offseason. Okay. You want to create another hole? You want to pay $27 million in dead cap and then figure out another way? Like, just hopefully make him less of the whole offense, put more pressure on the defense, and just let him be open and catch the ball when it's there. I'm good with it. I will absolutely deal with that. And again, the contract's not that bad.
Let me ask you, because I think I know what you're going to say, but they're two different style of players, and I feel like they both have a spot here. But it's kind of an interesting, preference. But you're getting Carnell Tate's getting a ton of steam, rising into the top 10 and being a target for the Browns. And I know that you love Mekhi Lemon as well. If you could pick or choose, and you could definitely get one of those guys, but not the other, where would you lean today?
As we sit here today,
and what is the difference between them that makes you choose one or the other?
As we sit here today, I'd probably take Carnell Tate. And it's just because it's easy to place him.
Yeah.
He has the classic traits. He's 6'2" or 6'3", somewhere in that neighborhood. He's 200 pounds. He's going to run well. His production is very good. His routes are very good. And Mekhi Lemon can certainly say the same thing about production and routes. Carnell Tate, routes per route run is 3.35, which is just stupid. That's insanely high. My only small quibble with Carnell Tate is, like, hopefully he's going to play through the playoff and play well. He's missed 3 games. It's not great. Obviously get to the bottom of why, if it's a real issue, or if they were just being cautious because they're a team that's trying to contend for the national championship, but he's easy. Yeah. Mekhi Lemon's a little more challenging, not because he's not a good player, but he doesn't have classic characteristics. Like, you are literally trying to make you're trying to sell a less than 6 foot wide receiver, less than 200 pound wide receiver, who's probably going to be a 4.5 speed guy, who also tends to operate from the slot.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of things where you sit there and go, and you can very easy go, can I really go this route? Now, he plays very similar to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's absolutely destroying the league. Now, the key with JSN had otherworldly agility, like something like 6'5" or something, or some stupid 3-cone. His shuttle was well under 4. He had the extraordinary change of direction traits that you can sort of look past a lot of things. Now, it's a very tall order for Mekhi Lemon to do those things. His body control suggests that there's a lot there. So, like, if he can do those things, then I think it becomes a more interesting conversation. Obviously, he's been healthier. He does a great job winning one-on-ones. He knows how to use his body. He's just an absolute demon with the ball in his hands and all those things. But, like, Carnell Tate's just a little bit easier, a little bit more classic, wide receiver 1 looking guy that I think you can plug in there more easily than a guy like Lemon. I think Tate could easily play X or Z.
Okay. And I honestly, that's where I'm leaning to. I like the idea of adding a little bit of size. I love the idea, and I'm in a helmet scout right now, but I love the idea of getting a kid from a pro program that's going to be ready to go on Sundays. Like that's just he's good. That's the best coach wide receiver room in the country, you know? And it's the amount of competition in that room and standard in that room is something that I want to put in my wide receiver room in the NFL. You know, I agree.
And look, I desperately hope that Ohio State's going to get to play Georgia. I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan, you're hoping that Georgia somehow does not make it to play Ohio State. But nevertheless, matchup wise, like I would love to see Carnell Tate play against Georgia's defense. I would love to, hopefully he gets opportunities and Julian Sain can deliver the ball and get it there. But like Carnell Tate has absolutely crushed some very talented defenses. And if he continues, and look, we can say that the playoff has an outsized weight to it based on the way things are going. And I think that could ultimately help Tate, whereas Lemon is unfortunately done. But like, I do think there's a point that matters. So if like Ohio State, he's healthy the whole way. If Ohio State goes to like the national championship and Carnell Tate has just crushed it, what am I, that's fine. Now the other problem with that is, and I think this is already going to be the case. I think Carnell Tate's going to go in the top 10. I will be surprised if he's not a top 10 pick, just the way the draft is shaping up. Not the least of which is the fact that Ruben Bain may have T-Rex arms, which is very terrifying in a number of fronts. May have to kick inside, which could hurt him. I don't know how many players are on the top of the draft that teams are going to covet this year. And you could say, well, Carnell Tate isn't a guy you necessarily want to have to take at 3 or 4 or whatever. And I'd obviously rather trade down and then pick him. But like, let's say the Giants win a couple games and they're not in the top spot or they trade down from the top spot. They could easily take Carnell Tate because they aren't going to take I wouldn't think they're going to take another premium pass rusher. I don't think they're going to take Arvell Reed. And unless there's an offensive lineman that's going to be really, really good, that's going to say, you have to take me here. And if they're not going to take a quarterback, then like they're running out of things not to take. And like, it becomes very easy to go, well, we'll just take Carnell Tate and walk. And I think there's going to be a couple teams in that boat. Tennessee's going to be interesting from that standpoint, given where they are. Now, I would assume they would be more inclined to be like, we'll take Arvell Reese or we'll trade down and get another premium player. But if they're not taking quarterback and all of a sudden, like, that's where I get worried about Carnell Tate. I think he could go very early. And if the Browns were in the situation they were in like last year, where let's say they're at 5th pick, and you put Carnell Tate right now against Tet McMillan, I probably going to take Carnell Tate as we sit here today. Maybe my mind gets changed by the time we get to the draft, but at least right now, I'd take Tate, be very happy with it. So like, that's where it's very easy for me to reason my way into being like, he could be gone by like pick 5 and there's not much you can do about it.
Let me ask you, because we've already touched on this a little earlier. So I always find it interesting when, these little things get floated, but now the Dante Moore is widely considered to be returning to school, but there is, more of a shot now than lately that he might come out. He might capitalize on the his status at the moment and a weak draft, yada, yada, yada. I'm with you. That scares the hell out of me. I hate the idea. Him being a Cleveland kid is going to shoot him to the top of everybody's draft boards for almost no reason outside of that. He's a very talented kid, but he's young. He's really young and he needs time. And this is already an offense that is just like, it's got youth and inexperience oozing out of its friggin' ears, man. Like that's like my biggest drawback to, a rookie quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback that is going to take a pick, if not more picks, to move up with what some of these people want to do, away from the wide receiver room, away from the offensive line, like away from cornerback depth. Like we need these picks, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, like I like the idea of actually having the quarterback sort of grow up with his weapons. Like I'm good with that. Hell, we just talked about Tim Couch and Kevin Johnson. It looked like it was really, really good. And unfortunately, they never got him any blocking. Obviously you had, Donovan McNabb and his dudes. You had Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning. Like, I like the prospect of being able to go, hey, you're going to get your quarterback and you're going to get your receiver. My issue with Dante Moore, he's played very little football. And we are literally dealing with, the interview process will be ridiculously important for him.
Yeah.
And maybe he's just so advanced that we're going to be blown away. But I just don't see a way you're going to want to put him on the field as a rookie. And we are currently looking at what's happening with a quarterback who does not know what they're looking at. It is ugly. It is god awful in terms of if you expect to go out there and compete. Like, this is part of my problem with people who are mad about losing the Bears. Like, you wanted this kid out there who does not know what he's doing in a lot of ways. He is trying to figure it out. And then you're mad that they lose. Like, these two things are incongruent as hell. Like, you sort of sign up for this. So, like, if you can facilitate a situation where Dante Moore is not playing, okay, great. Like, coach him up and figure it out. Because here's the one thing, and this is where you and I would probably disagree. I am absolutely on board with Kevin Stefanski and this coaching staff developing a quarterback. I love the plan they had for, people can sit here and bitch and moan. I love the way they handled the 4 quarterbacks. Like, I thought that was creative. I thought they came up with a lot of solutions that were good in terms of finding ways to get these guys more work. And you could sit here and go, well, Dylan Gabriel wasn't very good, and Kenny Pickett didn't do anything, and Joe Flacco stunk, and Shedeur Sanders didn't look very good. And all that is true, except for the fact that, like, they also did this without what amounts to be an offense. Yeah. Like, I like the thought process. I like the fact that they're willing to push the boundaries on these type of things and go, hey, we're going to have 4 quarterbacks. We got to figure this thing out and get them reps. And if it's the hungry dog, if Dante Moore's got to be a hungry dog, sign me up. Like, great. Yeah. I'm for it. But that's where I sit here and go, if Dante Moore's coming out because he's got what amounts to be a promise to be the number 1 pick or whatever, and the Browns aren't picking number 1, I'm sort of relieved in some ways that they would then be able to take Fernando Mendoza because he played more football. And I would think he'd be ready to sort of step in and play. Now, that's not a guarantee, but certainly readier because there's more of a track record. But having said that,
I was going to say that, yeah. If, like, say
he died. If he died in that position, that is awesome. It just redshirt sophomores to scare the hell out of me. Like, I'm looking at the numbers for Dante Moore. He's attempted 313 passes this year. He threw 214 in his year at UCLA. He just does not have a whole lot of reps. That's just not a whole lot of game experience. That's a lot to ask for a kid to come in and basically try to save your franchise. This is one of the issues I had, when we went through this with 2018, I was terrified of Sam Darnold for a lot of the same reasons. Sam Darnold played more football than Dante Moore's played. Like, Sam Darnold, and still I was terrified because he's just so raw and inexperienced. And, like, I look at those type of quarterbacks and my immediate thought is I want to be that quarterback's second team, not their first one. And you're sort of seeing that play out where Sam Darnold has figured out it's taken a long time. I don't want to, be in that scenario. So I would much, much, much rather give Mendoza in that scenario because he's just played more football. But, ultimately, and that's the other part with Moore, like, the Moore equation comes down to not only how do you feel about Dante Moore, but how do you feel about Shedeur Sanders? Because if you feel really good about Shedeur Sanders and you're sitting there going, we just cannot pass up on the opportunity to take this kid, you still have Shedeur Sanders and you can develop him. And if he takes the job and just runs with it, okay, great. But
good problem to have.
Yes, these are problems I will live with. But if Shedeur Sanders can continue to develop and the Browns come out of this thing going, man, we feel, the numbers were ugly, but we feel really good about it. We feel like adding Dante Moore to that room is going to make us really good because we're going to have a quarterback for now and a quarterback for later. I think that's a little bit of an awkward thing, but I can at least sort of see the vision for it. But that's the thing with Dante Moore. One, we're going to get however many more games with him to see how much he can grow. And he could Drew Allar this thing. I mean, I don't think he will. I think he's way better than Drew Allar was. But he could play badly and just be like, nah, it's not there. I gotta stay in school. If he comes out, he forces the conversation. It's a very difficult conversation to have, but you got to figure it out. So you're going to do an insane amount of homework on him.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you 100% in the sense that I'm not looking to package picks and move up for anybody. I don't care what position. This team needs bodies, and it doesn't need to put an extra amount of pressure or importance on any one individual. I will say this: if we're early enough, I don't have much interest in Dante Moore. I just don't. I don't have much interest in a quarterback that young. I feel like a quarterback that young, you're basically drafting for whoever gets him on his second contract.
Yeah, which is what I mentioned while you were gone. But yes, yeah, I agree. So that's the other part, and I'm not ruling this out either, which is like, man, they have the number 2 pick, and somebody took Mendoza, and you're sort of like, really like Dante Moore, but we'd really like 3 first-round picks instead. Like, okay, like that. Again, I'm willing to do that if you're going to supercharge your build process. Now, the only problem you run into with that is you have to have another
good and Shedeur.
Well, no, it's you. If you didn't get a veteran already, and you do that, like you are now sort of like, I got to figure this out on the fly. Like I have to figure out another option.
I don't know who they're going to get as a vet. I really don't. And I mean, don't get I get what you're saying, right? But isn't that Deshaun just by default?
No. It's never.
I mean, but you know what I'm saying, though. I don't want it to be.
Listen, I'll put you on a program. We'll get you ready to go. You're going in before Deshaun does.
Dude, first of all, no, I would feel very good about that to a certain degree. But no. Look, Pete, he's going to be on the field. He's going to play.
No, he's not.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Like
listen, put him back at safety like Houston did. He can play safety. But
I want you to know that you're looking at a depth chart of 12, 8, and 4.
No, I'm bringing something
else.
No, that's it.
And I mean, they might bring back Kenny Pickett until he pulls a hammy again. But like, that's what you're looking at. That's who we're rolling. Because at the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be a veteran that we can afford that's going to come in and be good enough that we're going to move off 2 rookie deals, or at least one of the rookie deals.
I'm going to have Deshaun go practice at Brook Park while they're doing construction. Deshaun can be there in the dirt throwing the football, or he can practice in the park. He can practice in the construction that's going on at Berea. Those are all great options, but I have no interest in seeing this guy.
I know you don't want it, Pete. Neither do I. No. I'm not the decision maker. I'm just letting you know there's a storm of ruin, and it's coming in 2026, dude.
No,
he's back.
No, he's not. He's not. And God willing, that will never happen. Or he rehabs and injures himself again. I don't care, but like. I just do not see a scenario where they're putting that dude back on the field.
That's fine. You can bury your head in the sand.
No, it's not. Listen. It's entirely. It's entirely what that would mean. Yeah. It's entirely what it would mean. And you can sit there. Well, because I've heard this. It's like, well, you're paying this much money anyway. You might as well. I just absolutely sucked the life out of everything. So I think they will do everything in their power. I don't know if that means there will be men in masks involved. In a home burglary type situation. I don't know, but I don't think he's ever going to be
put out there, Peter. All right. You don't need any implications later.
Yeah. I'm certainly not advocating any of these things. I hope he's safe, but like, man, I just don't think they will allow that to happen. And the other part is like the thing that I don't think people appreciate enough. I don't think he's physically ever going to be right.
Yeah.
He has had a ton of injuries. That are devastating. Like he's had multiple
Achilles. Think about that.
Multiple ACLs and then the same Achilles twice. And he looked slow before the Achilles. Like he looked noticeably slower. So you're now saying effectively, and maybe he will surprise you a little bit. But I think you're saying Deshaun Watson, the pocket passer, is going to have to be a thing. And like, as you say that already, you're like, that ain't going to work.
Pete, first of all, I don't want him to play. I don't want him.
I'm just saying why it won't happen.
But it will. Like Mary Kay has been like softly conditioning all of us. He's gonna be here next year.
Do you watch Kevin Stefanski's face? Do you watch his face when he answers questions about Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Hey, look, I think we can both agree, okay, that if we were going to put money on one of them being here, I'd put more money on Deshaun being here next year than I would Stefanski right now. So regardless of how Stefanski answers, I agree with you. I don't want that to be the case. I'm just saying, as I'm here right now, if I'm a betting man and they're like, hey, option A, Deshaun's on the roster, Stefanski's not. Option B, Stefanski's still the coach, Deshaun's not on the roster. What option are you putting your hard-earned money on, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be here.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying.
Look, this is the part where I've sort of like all season I said there's no way he's ever going to set foot on the field, and I was right. I honestly don't know what it's going to look like this year. This coming year. I genuinely don't. Now, do I think they're going to sit there and go, he's going to start? Absolutely not. Do I think he can win the job? Absolutely not. Beyond that, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what is going to happen.
Well, you think he's going to take snaps? Like he's going to play, right? And when I mean take snaps, I mean like preseason training camp, that sort of thing. I don't think they're going to put him in the regular season unless they have no hope.
I don't think he's
not no hope, no choice.
I don't think they'll put him in for preseason.
No.
And honestly, I wouldn't. Let's say, regardless of how they approach the situation, if assuming they're going to bring in somebody else, veteran or rookie, either way, I'm either getting the rookie more snaps or I'm getting Shedeur Sanders more snaps.
Yeah.
Or Dylan Gabriel.
I don't think Deshaun's going to take snaps from anybody.
No. I'm saying you're talking about I'm literally talking about preseason.
I'm not even talking about that. The whole point of my conversation right now is that we know that the quarterback room next year is going to be Shedeur, Dylan, and Watson. There is going to be a fourth quarterback brought in. We don't necessarily know how. What I'm saying is that I don't think there's a veteran worth NFL playing time that's going to say, yeah, I'll jump into that competition, because the other veteran has an immovable contract and you've got two guys on rookie deals who are the organization's more invested in than me on my 1-year prove it deal. So I don't see that as a good scenario, especially when you go over the track record of the last couple of years.
Well, if that, let's just say for the sake of argument that like the Browns are like, we can't bring in a real veteran. And that would not be just Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. That would be sort of the organization as a whole being like, we can't do this. How on earth would you then fire this group?
Yeah,
because you're literally handing them a bad situation at that point.
That's what they did this year.
Well, you had Flacco,
but you're replacing Deshaun with Flacco and Pickett.
I think there's a little bit more. Granted, not much. I think there was obviously had this nostalgia element with Joe Flacco, and you'd seen him win football games, and Kenny Pickett was sort of in the swing boat. But yeah, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it's enough that they were not him. Yeah. Just that alone was worthwhile. People consider it. Well, Joe Flacco is not winning, but I still really like Joe Flacco. That if Deshaun Watson wins, there are people who sit there and go, I don't like it, but the team's doing better, so it's okay. Because we already went through that. But man, that's gonna be an interesting. But like that's the thing. Like if you find if the Browns sit there and go into this offseason and go, well, we're keeping Deshaun, and that's going to prevent us from. I'll use Geno Smith as my all-encompassing veteran option. They go, this is just not workable. He's not gonna. He's not interested. He doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't necessarily believe that to be a real thing, but if the Browns come to that conclusion, like Kevin Stefanski has to be back at that point, because they just don't know how you're going to sit here and
do that to a new coach. I agree.
Well, I don't know what new coach is going to be like. Sign me up for this.
That's been my thing with this staff getting fired this year the whole time. As long as number 4 is on the roster and is taking up the healthy portion of our cap that he is, I think you're going to have a hard time filling those slots with desired candidates. That's just how I look at it. I know there's only 32 jobs available and stuff like that, but a lot of these guys only get one shot. And they're not going to take their chance with an owner with a shaky history, and then the salary cap situation in the quarterback room. I mean, it's a tough sell. Like, yeah, sure, I want that job. How's the offensive line and the quarterback play? Oh, okay. That's tough.
Well, but we've seen too many coaches who are sitting there going, no, I'll wait for the next one. Ben Johnson did this 2 years. Yep. Now, some of that was, one, he wanted to get the exact right fit. Young kids and all that other stuff, but still, he had the power to be like, "I'm good. I know I'm going to get my shot. I'm going to pick the job I want."
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the candidate you are trying to get, you have to make the sell, as opposed to, well, we're hoping the guy that you haven't heard of and all this can work and be really good.
Yeah.
And my immediate reactions, to that scenario is like, great. So you hired Freddie Kitchens again, and I'm waiting for the next coaching search. Like,
yep.
It's just an unworkable scenario to me in that scenario, in that case. So like, that's where I understand where people are like, man, I can't wait to get rid of all the regime. And I'm just sitting here going, where are you going to go? Like, that's the problem.
You're choosing the mystery box and hoping it's a boat.
Or you just want to make Deshaun the head coach and just say that, like, we're already paying him this much money, you might as well give him the title.
Yeah.
At that point. So yeah, it's that part is going to be really awkward. We'll find out what happens with that. 3 more games, but yeah, that's the big meatball that continues to sit out there.
Well, we got the third to last game this Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be an interesting one. I feel like it lines up the same exact way that the Bears game lined up in terms of, matchups and just teams on opposite ends of the spectrum and all that. But we'll see. Hopefully it's a good effort. We didn't talk Myles Garrett once today. 1 sack away from tying the record, 1.5 away from beating it. I think it happens on Sunday against Buffalo. I think Josh Allen's a good candidate for that. He likes to make things happen. He holds on to the ball. I think it happens this Sunday. That's my prediction, buddy.
Yeah, I think that will happen this week as well. The one that's going to be tough, unless he goes off in one of these games, is going to be the tackle for loss record. And I think the NFL has screwed him on one of his tackle for losses this past week, because the one where the quarterback just fell down, not a sack, but it should be a TFL, and I don't think they give him credit for it.
Well, and first of all, I'm still angry about the half sack to Shelby Harris. I thought that was garbage. He had his hand like suggestively on his shoulder. Like, give me a break. What is that?
No, you have to give the half sack to Shelby Harris for this reason, because they've really pushed this as far as they can go by giving him you have players on the team who are like, listen, I'm donating it to the cause. Like, they
pull up last second and throw their hands up.
There's a credibility issue where Alex Wright is like, basically admitted, he's like, I'm not going there to fight for my half sack.
He dove out of the way.
So yeah, I think he will get it. The advanced stats on the amount of pass rushes he's done this in is preposterous. The best ever in NFL history on a team.
It's a winning team stat.
Yes.
Sacks are a winning team stat. I can't stress this enough. It makes no sense.
So it's going to be interesting if the Browns can put together a real offense.
Mm-hmm.
What does this dude look like next year? Where he's at like 35 sacks or whatever it is. Like, stupid if the Browns can actually get up to 2-score leads and just let him tee off.
All right, Pete. Always a pleasure, brother. We will be back at it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We appreciate you, chat. You guys are always the best. Appreciate it so much. We'll catch you guys next week. And hey, go Browns. Let's get a wonderful performance from all our young guys. Let's stay healthy, and let's lose a close one at the end. You guys are the best. Go Browns. We'll catch you next week.